Allie with Potomac Beads. Join me in making these porthole earrings featuring our new QuadBow as well as our new PieDuo. If you want to check them out, watch the video. If you need any supplies, remember you can shop with us online. Gather up your materials and let's get started. To get started on our design, we are going to be forming a circle with our QuadBow as well as our PieDuo. Our QuadBow is going to act like the crust of our pie here, and we're going to put the 4 pieces in so they create a nice circle. To work with them, I have 0.006 wildfire beading thread in the green color. I have my QuadBow in vintage copper, jet bronze in my PieDuo, and then crystal slippered in the 1.5 by 2 millimeter Potomac crystals, and some 11.0 Duracoat galvanized gold Miyuki brand seed beads. I'm going to sew through my first one of my 4 QuadBows through hole number 2 from the exterior arch towards the interior smaller section. When I come out from there, I'm going to sew through my first PieDuo from the arch towards the point. That's going to be my first piece of my pie. From here then, I'm going to grab one more of my PieDuos, sew from the triangle section over to that rounded edge. Let that drop down directly next to the last PieDuo. From here, go ahead and grab your next QuadBow, again going into the second hole from the interior towards the exterior this time. When you're at the exterior of the QuadBow, I want you to add 1, 2, 3 of your 11.0 seed beads. You're going to go from hole number 2 of that QuadBow to hole number 3. At the same time, you're going to go through your second hole of the PieDuo that you're currently at. When you give a nice tight pull and kind of force them to sit, they're going to sit basically right next to one another. We're going to continue this till we have all 4 pieces of our pie going into the next PieDuo from the point towards the arch, grabbing my next one of my QuadBows and grabbing that through the second hole. When I get to the exterior of it, go ahead and add 1, 2, 3. Go from the second hole to the third hole, and again, back through the PieDuo. Give a nice tight pull to get those in there so that they're right next to one another. Fourth and final time, you're going through the PieDuo again from the point towards the arch, grabbing in my QuadBow through the second hole from the interior towards the exterior, grabbing 3 more of your 11.0 seed beads. You're going to add them and then go down through hole number 3 as well as through your last PieDuo hole. Now the first PieDuo that we added, we need to basically connect to it. So we're going to go through the first hole of the first PieDuo that sits empty, and at the same time come out through the second hole of that first PieDuo. When you do that, you get your final formation. We're going to add 1, 2, 3 more 11.0 seed beads and sew back from that first hole, or that second hole rather, down through the third hole. You just want to move your stop bead out of the way a little bit, and you're going to sew down towards the interior of the PieDuo. From here, we're going to add 4 simple little crystals to the interior between the pie. I want you to add 1 of your 1.5 by 2 millimeter. If you don't have the 1.5 by 2 millimeter, you can use an 8.0 seed bead. Go ahead and sew up through the PieDuo. And when you come out through that next PieDuo in line, that's going to sit that crystal so it's there right in the middle. When you're on the exterior here, I want you to add 1, 2, 3 more of your 11.0s and go between the QuadBow and go into the second hole of that same PieDuo. You want the crystal to sit on the top as well as those 3 little seed beads kind of to the top of the design. Add another crystal, go through your next PieDuo. From the bottom point towards the top. 3 more seed beads and down through the second hole. once you're through that second hole of the PieDuo, you're gonna add, yep, another crystal. So you're gonna be adding a total of 4 crystals as you go around for your 4 pieces of your pie. Adding 3 more seed beads then, come down through the next hole of that PieDuo. And now's your opportunity to add your last crystal in. And as you add your last crystal in, you're gonna go up through the PieDuo, add in 3 more seed beads. And once you have those 3 seed beads in place and that last PieDuo in place, you're gonna come out towards the interior of the project, go through then the next one of the PieDuos all the way out till you're coming out through the QuadBow. So I didn't go through the crystal, I went right through the next PieDuo, kind of sneaking underneath, because remember these are sitting on top of, and right out to the exterior. When you come out the exterior now, we are going to start to connect all of these seed beads to get our outer edge. You can also see at this point in time, it's really fun just to even stop at this point in the design if you don't want to do the full exterior lines. Coming out the top now, I'm gonna go through the 3 seed beads that I have above the QuadBow. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add 2 more, 1 and 2. I'm gonna sew down through the QuadBow and come out towards the interior near the PieDuos. Add another crystal on and sew up through the next exterior hole of the next PieDuo in line. So remember the QuadBow. Remember they have in them a total of 4 holes. So what we're doing right now is we're taking 2 seed beads, coming out of hole number 1, going through the 3 seed beads that connect holes 2 and 3, adding 2 more seed beads, sewing down through hole number 4. When I come out hole number 4, just like I did on the previous one, I'm going to add another one of my tiny crystals and sew up through the next open hole. You're going to continue this the whole way around the design to start to establish a nice common row of seed beads on the outer edge. This is also going to firm up the design and make sure that there's no flipping going on and that the QuadBows and the PieDuos are sitting exactly the way that they're supposed to. Going in here, I have my crystal going in, up to the next one. 2 more rows to do. 2 beads go in. And you'll notice sometimes on the 3 seed beads, they were sitting at almost like a little picot trim or a triangle. This is going to force them to lay flat against your bead here. Once I'm in here, I get 2 more seed beads in, down through and QuadBow. Add in my last 1 crystal, up through. And as I come up on the exterior, this is my opportunity to add in my last 2 seed beads before going through the 5 seed beads that are already there, the 3 original ones and the 2 that I had just added. So you're going to end up with 7 11-0 seed beads on the exterior of the design the whole way around. We're now going to link those. In order to link them, you're going to do 2 more seed beads, 1, 2. Then what we're going to do is actually make a little diamond out of our smaller crystals. So to do so, I have 2 seed beads on. I'm going to pick up 1, 2, 3, and 4 crystals. Go back through crystal number 1. So starting between bead, the 11-0 seed bead and the crystal, you're going to go back through the crystal. I'm holding it nice and tight in my hand so that way it can make sure that I don't see a ton of extra thread there to make that nice little crystal diamond. Add 2 more 11-0 seed beads and sew through now this row that's already here of seed beads. Sometimes you can make it through the whole row. Sometimes you'll need to bring your thread and needle out towards the exterior. Coming out again then, you're going to add 2 more 11s. 3 crystals, your 4th crystal, and then back through crystal number 1, starting from where the 11 is, sewing towards the exterior. If your diamond happens to be up there, say, what you want to do is pull the top of the diamond and the bottom bead, and then hold the bottom bead and tighten up the other beads on the exterior. Grab 2 more 11-ohs and on to the next one. So you can see I have 2 done, and I have 2 more to go as we continue around, adding in 2 beads, our 4 crystals into their diamond shape, and 2 more beads to connect the outer row. As you proceed around, you'll see I just added in my last little set of crystals and seed beads here. I'm sewing through my seed beads leading up to my next set of crystals. And then what we're going to do is turn the crystals in towards the other crystals that are already here on the point. To do so, I want you to go through the first crystal, go around in the circle, through the second crystal in line, and then also through the 3rd crystal. When you come out through the 3rd crystal, we're going to add an 11-oh seed bead and sew through the crystal that's already there below. That's going to pull this set of crystals from above down into the piece. Go ahead and add 1 more 11-oh. And then back to that 3rd crystal that you were coming out of. Whatever side you came down on, if you came down on the right here, you want to make sure that you're going into the left side. That's then going to bring that around and actually introduce you to right angle weave on this piece. Go back through now bead number 4 on that original crystal row, up through the edge there, and then down through bead number 1 and around over to the next position. When I get to the next position, I'll repeat and show you one more time. I'm going all the way over through all the seed beads. This is why I have my size 12 needle on. Once I come out here, I'm going to go through bead number 1 of my diamond. Go up through, I turn it on the side just so I can handle it a little bit better. Go through bead number 2, out bead number 3. As I go out bead number 3, I'm going to add 1 11-oh seed bead, catch on to the crystal that sits between that quad bow at the bottom. I'm coming out the right hand side here at the top, and I'm going in from right to left towards the bottom one. That's going to force that exterior little diamond to sit on top of the project. Add another 11, and then go back to that crystal there at the point that your thread was coming out of, and go from the left back towards the right. Make sure to give a nice tight pull, so that way you raise the crystal from the interior here and make sure it sits in a little bit of a concave shape. Go through the crystal on the right hand side, through the crystal along the baseline, and travel over, doing the same thing 2 more times. This is going to get that nice look of that little bit of arch and adding those crystals around the sides of what look like my window frames. Once you've added your last little fold over of crystals there, I'm coming out through that point of the diamond that we folded over. I'm going to go back down through the first 11-oh seed bead that I just added. I'm going to go through the crystal, and now we're going to catch on to the 3 seed beads that are already here on the sides. Adding in 1 11-oh, going through the 3 seed beads, pulling those kind of towards the interior, 1 more 11, and through the crystal that sits right there next to it. You're going to do this the whole way around, which is going to give a total of 5 seed beads between each one of the PieDuos as well as the QuadBows. So I'm adding a seed bead, sewing through the 3 that are there, adding a seed bead, sewing through the crystal. This helps to also pull the crystals up and has them frame out the PieDuos really nicely. Adding an 11, sewing through the 3 that are there, add an 11, sew through my crystal. If you want the crystals to be a bigger dramatic feel, keep in mind you can go with a color of a crystal not one that's complementary to one that's kind of the same, but do a complementary color to your quad bows and your PieDuos. Coming through here, I have one more seed bead to add. I'm going to go through the crystal that's there. Give a nice little tight yank there. Up through the 11-0 on the left-hand side here. When you're out through the 11-0 on the left-hand side, you're going to go through the crystal above it from the left to the right, through the crystal on the right-hand side, and through the crystal that sits at the base. When you're out the crystal that sits on the base, it is time to add in your wire guard and to add in your fun little crystals at the top. So coming out here, I have my 2 crystals. I have my copper wire guard. I have my crystal that I'm currently coming out of. I'm going to add another crystal up through my copper wire guard to match my vintage copper, down through the other side of the wire guard. And if you're not familiar with the wire guard or wire protector, it has that little U-channel and then basically 2 tubes on the exterior. The thread is going to be between the 2 tubes where it sits and then just relaxes in between that arch. This keeps a nice finished appearance to your earrings as well as the thread from rubbing on the ear wires. Going in here then, I add one more of my crystals and I'm going to sew back through that first crystal that my thread was coming out of. So it's just one more unit of that right angle weave. From here, go ahead and reinforce, going up through the crystal, through the wire guard, down through the wire guard, down through the crystal. And as you come out the crystal then, you're going to also go through that initial crystal. And what we're going to do is work our way to get the 2 thread ends tied together. So I'm going to go through here, go through the crystal here, bring the project and flip it over. Look along the exterior now and see how can you get back to that starter bead. I'm going to go through the 2 seed beads that sit on the side, through the last hole of the quad bow that sits underneath it. Skip over because you won't see the thread, right to the next hole of the quad bow. At that point, my thread and needle are coming out right near my stop bead. I'm going to push that back, tie these 2 thread ends together, simply burn down the thread ends nice and flush against the project, and then attach my ear wire to finish up my Porthole earrings. It's really fun to work with and check out all of these new shapes, and we're really excited to give you this first look at some of our newest beads, both the PieDuo as well as the QuadBow. Thanks so much for joining me in making these Porthole earrings. They are a fun design showing the nice natural way that our new QuadBow and PieDuo fit together. Remember, if you need any supplies, we're happy to help you out. Comment below and say what colors you're excited about, what styles you're going to make, and really what you love about these new beads. As always, thank you guys so much for watching and enjoy our newest shapes and these Porthole earrings.